through. This is our very first meeting that we are organizing for the forthcoming election, and we wanted to make sure that each one of us is conversant with the requirements that we require, or what is required for you to contest, but also how we are going to vote our leaders. So I wanted us to just have a quick word of prayer. I think, Mr. President, you can lead us in a word of prayer. We shall have quick remarks, and then we dive into the electoral guidelines, because we have now the electoral guidelines that are going to support us to understand the process of how we're going to vote and what are the requirements and whatever. So I've prepared a few slides just to summarize the electoral guidelines, and I wanted to take the members through that so that whoever is contesting, they are aware of what are the requirements or what is required of us. But even us, the voters, we should be aware of what is expected of us. And then we shall present the voting tool, how are we going to vote, and how are we going to do it online. Jemba will be able to take us through that, and then we can have questions and answers, and then we should be able to close this meeting. We anticipated that this meeting will take us a maximum of 1 hour. So probably by 8:17 we should be getting off the call. So thank you so much, and Jemba, kindly unmute, and then you'll lead us in a prayer so that we can dive into the day's presentations. Thank you. Jemba, are you able to lead us? Oh, we have to unmute you from this side. Okay. Mr. Chimera, kindly help me unmute Jemba Vincent. Jemba, try to put your hand up so that I can see you. Somehow I'm not seeing.
I'm actually unmuted now.
Okay, please. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bernard. Pray. Loving Father in heaven, thank you for this time. Thank you for the far you brought us. Looking at. Thank you for the journey the others have taken us. Now may you give us the new ones. May you use us. May you prepare us. And may you give us those who are after your own hearts. May you bless our meeting at midnight. We pray all this with Jesus Christ.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Jemba. Now let me quickly share my screen so that we can dive into today's conversation of basically taking you through the electoral guidelines.
Will you share your screen? I have put the YouTube link in the chat. The members can share it with the others.
All right. Thank you, Henry. And colleagues, I am just quickly taking you through the electoral guidelines for Allied Nutritionists Association. Of course, we couldn't have an election without something that is guiding us. And so we came up with these guidelines. We submitted them to the executive, and the executive looked at them. They gave us a lot of comments. We addressed them, and finally, this is what we have, and this is what we are working with. I have already shared this document with you in our WhatsApp group, so hopefully that each one of us is able to access them. Of course, these guidelines hinged on so many other laws of government, but also our constitution as the Allied Nutrition Professionals Association. We have, of course, the Articles of Association, and so this electoral guideline is actually extracted. Some of the elements are extracted from these laws. How is the election supposed to be organized by the Republic of Uganda? How is it being suggested to be organized according to our articles? And then also looking at what is that framework that can actually lead us when we are going to vote, such that we are able to be transparent in the way we are going to have our voting, ensuring that our processes are open, are clear, and we are all accountable at the different levels from the time we start the electoral process up to the end. So we thought that we needed to have these guidelines to really show our transparency, but also assuring that the process can be challenged in case we are not transparent, but also assuring that we are inclusive, all eligible members being able to have an opportunity to participate in the electoral process, but also assuring that we are credible, being an association of elites, an association that is of experts, you know, people who have come together for a common cause. We needed to be credible, and so we couldn't have elections that are not reflecting what we are. And so the guidelines are looking at those principles that we want to be. And also in terms of professionalism, ensuring that we conduct ourselves during the course of elections with integrity, with competence, but also adherence to best practices that are happening elsewhere. And of course, issues of democracy, how do we ensure that now we have democratic processes when we are electing our leaders or when we are suggesting our leaders? So in the event of inconsistencies here and there, we have a tool that can actually be supporting people who want to challenge the election. So now these become our electoral principles: transparency, inclusiveness and credibility, professionalism, and democracy. So that is why we came up with this document. Of course, I've already mentioned that these guidelines are basically anchored on the Constitution of Uganda, but also the Non-Governmental Organization Act. The fact that we have registered as a non-government organization, we had to consult the Non-Government Organization Act of 2016 as amended to make sure that we align with what is expected of an association when it comes to elections. And also we leveraged on the constitution of the association. We also looked at, of course, the best practices elsewhere internationally. How is it done with similar associations? How is the election done across the countries? So we were able to hinge on that to come up with this important document that is guiding all of us. And I hope that after this presentation, you can go back and look at the provisions therein, of course, which I will present one by one slowly. But specifically, when you look at the Constitution of the Association, Articles 5, 6, and 7 speak directly to these elections, and so we are not working outside the framework of the association. Now, the objectives of the electoral guidelines are basically to provide us a clear and predictable framework, very clear and predictable framework for the conduct of Allied Nutritionists Association elections, and also promote free but also fair, credible, inclusive, and accountable elections. We don't want a scenario after the elections and someone says, oh, well, they were not clear, were not fair, were not free. We want to create an environment where all our members can participate and then we are able to make sure that we are free and fair and also credible. But also we want, the guidelines are meant to safeguard the integrity and the autonomy of the association during the elections or the electoral processes. But also then we want to ensure that member confidence and participation is guaranteed. So how do we ensure that our members are confident in this process and then may be able to attract them to participate? So that is basically why we came up with these guidelines to support each one of us, and we're able to move on. Now in terms of of course the committee has been established. Our association constitution provides mandate to the executive committee to be able to come up with any committees that may be deemed necessary. Now this time the executive committee decided that we have an electoral committee to help us in organizing elections, and so this committee was established, and I am the chairperson of that committee. Musisi is here, and then Angela, and yeah, we're about 6 of us who are running this process, and as we introduced them already on the page. So this committee has been around since February, and this is what we've been doing during the course of that time, ensuring that we come up with this guideline, ensuring that we organize the election tools, how we're going to vote online, coming up with all those tools. That is what we've been doing during the course of these months. Now, this committee is actually an independent committee. The committee is impartial, but also we are accountable, an accountable electoral body. and that's why we are even calling these meetings. We can't have control of who attends, but we have done our part. And so our mandate comes directly from Article 7, Part 6 of our Constitution, where the Executive Committee can be able to establish any other independent committee by resolution. So already by January 2026, a meeting started of the leaders, and they came up with this resolution, and that's how we were established. Of course, the mandate is that the Electoral Committee shall be responsible for the overall organization, conduct, supervision, and management of elections. And our vision is very clear. We really want to have a professional and impartial electoral body, ensuring credible and democratic leadership, and we want to see how people transit from one leadership to another, and that is our vision. In terms of our mission, we want to organize, conduct, and supervise regular, free, and fair elections. So ensuring that different stakeholders are engaged, ensuring that members participate, ensuring that we share information about our elections, of course thereby enhancing democracy and good governance for our association. And of course the goal is very clear as well. We want to promote participatory democracy and good governance for the Allied Nutritionists Association. So we are basically going to be independent, we're going to be impartial, we're going to be transparent as much as we can, and we're going to be accountable, and that is what is going to lead us as the committee. Of course, the values are really spelled in there. Our core values are about accountability. We need to account for these leadership roles. We need to be service-oriented, offering ourselves to serve you guys as the association. Being impartial is one of our core values, but also ensuring conducting these elections. And of course, some sort of innovation. How do we make sure that we don't do elections as usual? We have some bit of innovation to allow someone in Karamoja, someone in Kasese, someone elsewhere to be able then to participate wherever they are. So we need to have those innovations. How do we do that? Of course, our functions are already stipulated in this guideline. We are supposed to organize, we are supposed to conduct, we are supposed to supervise all our elections of the association. And after that, we are supposed to compile, maintain, revise, and update the voters register. We still have challenges here and there, as the president will talk to us about it. But we're going to have a voters register where every person has to register for you to be able to vote. Because you cannot vote unless you're in the register. The system will reject you. So we're going to take you through that in a few. And then also the other role we have is to produce and issue voters cards. We are supposed to give each one of you a voters card. We're still debating and discussing how that can be done, but as soon as you register, we can be able to get up a card, an online card, and you have it. But of course also since it is online, it may not necessarily be a card, but it can be a random reference number for each of the voters. We are supposed to develop and implement the civic and voter education. The whole of this coming week, we shall be doing voter education, trying to sensitize people on how they're going to cast their vote, why they need to vote, why someone has to contest, etc. So that is our role. But also we need to recruit and train, but also deploy election officials where applicable, meaning that if we are to have a physical election, we're supposed to have deployed election officials whom we need to train and also recruit. But in our case, we want to use an online version. Still, we shall need expertise of guys who will be leading us in the electoral process. So we need to recruit them and train them on how to do these things. Of course, we are supposed to hear and determine electoral complaints. We know that people can complain, and so we want to listen in to the complaints of the colleagues, and then we are able to address them. Complaints relating to elections, not any other complaints. Also, we need to establish a tally center. We're already in the process of coming up with a tally center, which will be online. But of course, we can also have physical tally centers in a situation where we are going to have physical elections. We wanted to have this election as participatory as possible. We wanted even to come up with physical tally centers, especially to cater for our students who are in the universities. How do we make sure that they participate? And then, but we are still discussing what is possible, and then we shall communicate which one we would have agreed with. But the policy and the guideline, they provide for both physical and online versions. But also we are supposed to make recommendations on the improvement of the allied electoral process. We need to guide the executive how we can do elections. So these are the core functions of the electoral committee, and this is what we are supposed to do. Myself and my team, these are the roles that we have already started doing, and we are very committed to ensuring that we have stronger, credible elections for this important entity. Now, we have these positions. These are the positions that we are going to get leaders for. So these are the only available positions for now. Our constitution provides less, but then it gives mandate to the leadership to be able to provide more positions as deemed necessary as the environment keeps on changing. So with that mandate, there are some positions that the leadership actually suggested, but because we've not had the AGM, so we cannot pass them. So for now, we are still moving with what is available in our policy. So we have the president, that is now the overall position of the person who will lead us in the top leadership position as president. We have the vice president. We shall have the general secretary. We shall have the treasurer. Now we shall have 4 regional representatives. Now these regions, of course, as you're aware on the page, there are other suggestions that, for instance, the northern region seems to be bigger, and members are suggesting that we divide the northern region into maybe the north and then West Nile and something like that. But then from our end as the Electoral Commission, we guided that we cannot pass a new position unless there is an AGM. So when we gather for the AGM, we shall be handing over, maybe the current leaders will be handing over to the new leaders, but also we shall propose amendments to the different documents that we have. And now, at the AGM, that's when we can be able now to say, well, we are going to increase the number of positions for these areas so that we are guided from the policy perspective, but also having the best practices. So for now, these are the positions we have. For the northern region, you'll give us 1 representative for the north, taking, of course, West Nile and the entire north. And then 1 representative from central, the other representative from the east, and the other representative for the west. So for now, those are the 4 regional representatives that we shall be electing. And now we also have the students representative, of course, aware that we have quite a number of students in different universities. So the committee will have 1 representative for students, and then we shall have public relations officer. We have already shared the roles and responsibilities of each of these persons on the page. We can keep on sharing them. Maybe we shall try to do some bit of infographics for each of them so that it's easy for people to know their roles whenever they are applying. We also have the publicity secretary, and then research and advocacy lead. Those are the positions for now that we have. So let us encourage ourselves and encourage each other to make sure that these roles and responsibilities are taken up by our members. We don't want anyone to say that they are not participating. I think this is the opportunity for people to contest, and we see their leadership skills. In terms of eligibility criteria for candidates, now the guidelines have provided us an eligibility criteria for candidates, but also for voters. So it is not mandatory that anyone can be a candidate, and it's not mandatory that anyone can be a voter unless they meet these provisions. Now, for eligibility to candidates, a person shall be eligible to contest for any elective position if they meet any of the following. 1, they must be a fully registered and paid up member of the Allied Association. Now, this is what the guideline says, but then we have one of the provisions that provides, now that the entity is very new, we actually learned from the Treasury that many members have not even registered with the association itself. You can imagine that on that page we are almost 1,025, but many of us are not paid up members yet. and yet we need to have a team running. And the leaders have suggested that since the members are still very few who have registered, we could give some sort of waivers on particular provisions, and that notice will also come on which provisions have been provided by the leadership, and then we shall be able to communicate to you. But this is what is in the guideline. Secondly, the person to contest as a candidate, you must be a qualified nutritionist. Please note, nutritionist. So either you have a diploma or a degree or whatever, but you must be a qualified nutritionist and duly registered with us. Of course, still the thing of registration we are still discussing, because some of us, I know that many of the members have not registered because some of them are just joining the association. So all of those waivers, if I receive a communication from the leadership, we shall be able to communicate it. But this is what our guideline stands for. But also, a person should be of good moral standing, professional conduct. Someone should not be in violation of any provisions of our law or our constitution. A person who is not suffering from any mental illness, and a person who is registered with Allied Health Professionals Council. Now, again, there's a discussion on this because many people, again, have not yet, not that they have not loved to register, but I think we have just, we see members starting to pick interest in registering with Allied Health Professionals. Leadership informed me already that for positions of the president and the vice president, we have no waivers for this provision. They must be registered with the Allied Council. Now, for other provisions like positions of the students representative, we may not have this because, after all, they don't meet the criteria for them to be able to be registered. So some of these provisions will be waived for particular categories or for particular positions, which we intend to communicate to you anytime soon during the course of the week, or maybe during the course of the next couple of days. But this is what provisions we have in our regulation, in our guideline. Now, for voters, we also have a criteria for voters. It's not a must that every one of us can vote. For anyone to vote, they must be nutrition cadres. So not food scientists, not food safety, they must be nutrition cadres for them to be able to cast a vote. So meaning that they have a nutrition background. Our constitution defines a member, actually, as I'm going to just show you in a minute. Now, the members who are voting must also be fully registered. Of course, still that provisions we may waiver it when we have already submitted this request to the executive to guide us on how we deal with this, but this is what we have in the guidelines. But also people who are in good standing with the association constitution, they're the only ones who can be able to vote. So you must be a member of Allied Nutrition Association for you to be able to cast a vote. Basically, that's what it means. So that is how we're going to ensure that that is what our law says. Yeah. I just scanned this to show you what our constitution talks about membership. So when you look at our constitution, they look at a member as every nutrition practitioner holding a diploma or a degree in nutrition, adult nutrition, and all associated specialties residing in Uganda. They also look at visiting nutritionists or visiting dietitians. They can also be considered as associate members. But also health workers with special training in nutrition. So that is what they provide in the constitution. But also they look at people who have paid up membership. So that is a provision in the constitution. I wanted you to have an idea of who a member is. Article number 2 of our constitution as Allied provides for those. Of course, we have already agreed that some of them can be amended, but yeah, for now that's what we have. Now, in this process, we need to have nomination of candidates. So what happens is that we're going to have a nomination process, which has already started, as you might be following in the page. And the nomination process is very simple. Anyone who meets the criteria that I've just mentioned up there, or those who are within the amended or maybe waivers, they will have to be nominated. So The elections shall commence with the formal nomination period, which we have already announced to you in the group. So we have already nominated, we have already put up the nomination process or period, which will run up to the end of this month. And the leaders are also suggesting that we push it a little bit, maybe to the 15th of July, so that we take a whole month of people expressing interest. And then interested candidates shall complete and then submit the prescribed nomination forms, which nomination forms we have already shared with all of you on the page. And then also the nomination forms then shall be filled in and then submitted back to the Electoral Commission through the email that we have already shared with the members. However, when someone is submitting their nomination form, they must submit it alongside a CV and then your academic credentials. It could be the candidate's transcript or a candidate's certificate of completion of a course. And for students, they can give us their admission and also a letter from their association at the university, because each of the nutrition offering universities, they have a nutrition club or association. So we just need them to give us either the admission or a testimonial and also a letter from your association. And that is what we need for students, but also in any case for people who have registered with Allied Health Council, Professionals Council, and their certificates are not yet out, we can also take on the proof of payment. If at all they have proof of registration, they will take on the mantle to give us their nominations. Now, we had provided that each nominee shall pay a non-refundable fees of 50,000. This was money now to help us in processing election, the tools, the gadgets, the machines, and whatever. Leadership has also waived off the 50,000 for now. I think they are kind enough. They said they will provide us what we needed to run the election, so they have waived off the 50,000. But the law, the guideline provides for that 50,000. So in the future, people have to pay the 50,000 for nomination fees. So to cater for maybe at the time of elections, people who will be running these campaigns, rather people who will be responsible for the online voting, paying for that space, paying for those tools, etc. So that is the money that would help to do that. For now, our leaders have catered for us, and they said we could waiver it off. And I think that is the reason for this meeting, so that people are able to understand what is going to be waived off and what the stand is for now. Now, when you submit your forms, we shall verify them. Of course, the committee will have to verify all the nominations that will come through. So basically that is it. And once you have been nominated, we've received your nomination forms, we shall provide you feedback so that you start your campaigns. Now, we shall then, of course, campaign. People run their campaigns, and then later we shall vote. Now, there's also what we call declaration forms. Now, all nominated candidates shall be issued with declaration forms, which must be duly completed and signed as confirmation of acceptance of nomination. So the moment we have looked at your papers, we are convinced that actually you meet the requirements, then we shall give you a declaration form for being nominated. And so we can now sign it off and accept you for nomination, and then we send you out there to look for your votes. So all nominated candidates shall be issued declaration forms. The forms will be completed, will be signed off, and then to show that you've complied, then we can allow you to go and start looking for your votes out there. Now, campaigns will come in. Of course, we want people to have fair campaigns. We want people to be able to go on our page and make your announcements and whatever. So all that is liberty provided for in these guidelines. So upon completion of your nomination process, a campaign period shall be announced, and we shall commence with campaigns. Now the campaigns shall run for a minimum of 30 days, and then campaigns shall be conducted in a peaceful, professional and issue-based and also ethical manner. We don't expect people to come to the page and start making allegations against the other. We want really people to be peaceful, to be professional, to be issue-based, to have ethics, etc. And then also the Electoral Committee shall issue campaign guidelines, which we are working on, and you'll have them, and also the schedule of campaigns. Now, abuse of office and also resources, hate speech, and ethical conduct, all those shall be prohibited during the course of the campaign. So I hope that our candidates are able to follow very closely on these provisions that we have put across. Now, during the course of the campaigns, we have also provided for appointment of agents. That colleagues, you can have your agents, but these agents must be credited. So you have, each of you who will contest shall have or shall be entitled. You may not have, but you will be entitled to appoint your agents, and all those agents must be formally approved and accredited by the Electoral Commission, or rather the Electoral Committee. But also the agents shall observe, of course, your voting process, the accounting of votes, and then the tallying process on behalf of the candidate. Because the candidate might be busy up and down here and there, convincing people to vote him, but with your agents are supposed to be able then to be, be around when you're counting the votes, be able to know the tallying process, so that you don't claim you are cheated. So that is also provided for in the guidelines. So lastly, let me quickly talk about the voting procedure. Voting shall be conducted by electronic voting, but also we can have physical balloting, just in case we see that some people are in Kampala and they cannot have access to their phones, or maybe we intend that we can have a physical ballot voting. But the most preferred now is the electronic voting, which we shall take you through in a minute. And then, of course, the choosing will be up to you. You know what to do. People will have access. There will be secrecy. There will be integrity, because you are doing it even in your room with your link. So, yes, it shouldn't be a worry. Then voting arrangements shall enable members to, of course, vote. We shall make sure that the arrangements are available for everybody to be able to cast their vote. And once we've voted, we shall, of course, count the votes and whatever, and we shall have a process of declaring results. So in the process of that, we shall make sure that results are declared by the chairperson of the committee. Results shall be announced within 48 hours after elections. That is the maximum time we intend to have. And then, of course, official results shall be communicated to members through official Allied Nutrition Associations channels. All our channels, we shall be able to communicate the results or the outcome of this election. So all candidates shall be presented with a copy of the signed declaration forms with your results, which will be fully signed. Of course, now these are just handover processes. The moment we have elected, we shall organize formally how the old team hands over to the new team, how the outgoing bearers shall facilitate. Of course, they will be facilitating us to have a smooth transition, which is transparent and timely. But also the newly elected leaders then shall assume office in accordance with the Constitution. So we shall go back to the Constitution, and then we'll leverage on that. So the process should be really, shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to use the guidelines and the Constitution to guide us. Now, these guidelines can be amended anytime, whenever the association wishes. So we can always revise them, we can always amend them. So it is not a cast on stone, it's a working document. We shall be engaging with it. We can make amendments, but of course there's a procedure to do that. And so these guidelines are in commencement because they have been sanctioned by the executive. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is what we have. I know that you've already seen the nomination form. The nomination form is already available on our page. So allow me to stop at this. So these are the guidelines that you're going to follow during the course of this time. And thank you so much for paying attention and for listening in. And I hope that everybody can be able to share with a colleague, and then we move forward. Thank you so much, colleagues. And I didn't want to really take on the questions now. Rather, I wanted Jemba to quickly take us through the online system, so that we are able now to receive the questions in the next couple of minutes, and then we end the call. We have 27 minutes, and I think that is sufficient for us. Thank you so much, colleagues, and Jemba, over to you. Let me ask you to unmute, and then you speak to us. Thank you, President.
Thank you so much, my brother. Actually, that was really a very good outlay. I'm ready. I don't know if I can share my screen.
Yes.
I'm still having.
Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Just a second. Let me see what can be done. Okay. 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 KHR, please. KHR, are you there? Mr. Chimera?
His co-host now, he can share.
Okay. Okay. Jemba, you can now share. Jemba, now you can share.
Okay, let me. It's saying only the host can share. Only the host.
Oh, you're already a co-host.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it. Just a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's coming. It's coming.
Is
Yes,
it
Jemba,
visible?
we can see it.
Lovely. Yeah. So thank you. I hope you can share using my phone because many people will use their phones, but uh, I think this is also fine. So the online version may not be the most perfect to show you the representation, but it can certainly do the very work that it's meant to do. So here in our application, when you go to our dashboard, that is at the home, before you go to the tools and all the other places, there is this home. So at the home, you can scroll down. What I'm using is the admin account, so it may not reflect what you will see. But nevertheless, you'll click somewhere here, what you see like a ballot. So click in, you will see this page. So again, my page may be a bit different because it has some admin rights at the moment, but this is certainly how it will look. And you'll have liberty to go anywhere here. So this is the voting dashboard. The admins will be using this button a lot, which I will not tap for now. But registration for voting, remember we said you'll need a voters register. So when I click in, this is what you'll be able to see. Something like this is what you'll be able to see. So your name, that is the voter's name. I could try to show my name briefly. I could say it's Michael. Now, after you putting, no, I'm registering for like as a voter. So I'm probably putting the assistant nutritionist, then the location where I am or something, then the preferred mode of voting, probably tally center or digital platform. Now we have both the tally center and the digital platform. People who can make it to the tally center, please, you're most welcome. But those who make it for the digital platform, that can be captured here. So my name, Michael, my position, because most of us are nutritionists or assistant nutritionists. Some of them are not nutritionist yet, so you can say you're a student, not yet practicing, or finalist, not yet practicing, or lecturer, or assistant commissioner, whichever. So when we capture these details, we have the statistics that most of the nutritionists voted this person, or most of the students voted this person, something like that. So we have all the statistics. When you submit, you'll be issued a voter's ID, that is the number, not a document. So after registering, I'll go to the voters register for you to see something about it. So here's the voters register. All the data here is test data. So it's not at all going to be used for any other reason. After this, it will be removed, it will be cleaned, it will be waiting for your original data. So whatever you're going to see here is just test data. Don't mind the images. So you will not be able to delete anyone's account. This is an admin account, so you will not be able to delete. You will not be seeing only the person who this account belongs to will be able to delete their information as a voter. So you can say, I don't want to vote anymore, and you deregister, you delete it. But I want to show you something here. We have a voter's ID right here, which you can copy. So I can copy it. So that's my voter's ID. I've copied it. You will need to keep it very secret. Why? Someone can see your statistics when they have it. So this is test data. No one else will be able to see your voter's ID unless you tell them. So I just wanted you to have this, but after this, we are going to update the system. No one will be able to see it. So remember, you registered as this person said they're anonymous, they are a lecturer from Central Region. This is their voter's ID. The mode of voting, they will vote digitally, and the voting status is ongoing. So if you've started voting, the system will tell us this person is currently voting. So if you start voting, maybe president, then it will click that you're now voting. But if you've not started, it will show that you've not yet started voting. So it will just be voting status, not started. So that's how you go about your voters register. Now I'll show you in a moment how to use your voters ID, and I'll start with anonymous. Maybe let me just take this voter's ID, that it can be a good representation. Okay, so we started with you being able to register as a voter. Then you can appear on the voters register. In a minute, I'll take you to the candidates and the ballot paper and all the statistics. But just to show you what the voters ID can do, the voters ID, when put here, when you go to personalize everything, the voters ID will bring you to this kind of screen. It will show you your specific voting information that you of this name and this voter's ID, you voted this person, this person, this person, this person, and currently this person has these kind of votes. So you will only be able to monitor the people you have voted in real time. You'll be able to see how many votes they have in real time when you come to your specific statistics. So you won't be able to ask anyone, how is this one doing? How is it? No, no, no. It will be real time. So that is it about you personally. Now, about our candidates, it's the electoral committee to add them into the system. After they have been vetted, they will be added in the system, and they will start appearing in such a format. So our candidates will be appearing. Please don't mind that again the data. It's just test data. These are just images of people we try to get in. So this is how it will appear. The name, that is the name, and then the position, that's the position. So this is the candidate standing for that. Then you can say, no, I'm looking for president, but I'm not saying no, that's verified. You'll come here and then you filter. You can say, I want research and advocacy lead. When you click in, only those will appear. So you have only the research and advocacy lead. Or you may say, no, I want to say students. I want to see who is standing in for students representative. Currently, there is none. we've not put a student representative. So let me just click in president and we see. So presidents are here. So you can filter, and then when you reach your candidate that you've been looking for, maybe this person, when you click in them, it takes you straight to the ballot paper, and then it will actually try to tell you exactly where this person is. Sadly, online it's a bit tricky, but it has to move and take you to the exact position where that person is. Yeah. So it has to roll down and then it brings you here. When it takes you here, you can see that this person is standing for president and he has a manifesto. Now, this is just a brief manifesto. When you click in, it will take you to the detailed manifesto page, which I currently want to access, but my network is a bit jumpy. So this is the detailed manifesto page. It has an automatically shifting motion, which shows you if this person has any feedback, the position they are studying on, their image, and then what this person has as the manifesto. So this is test data again, and it will not reflect anything that shows what this person is or something. So this person has no feedback. So people feel free to put feedback to your leader who is trying to stand according to their manifesto, and let them know that this and this and that, just to keep it a bit respectful. So I'll take you to one account that has charts. For example, this account has two charts. So this data has been cleaned. Maybe you'll see it in real time when we do it even more. But if this person has anything on their chart, like feedback, this chart part will turn green. So just to test, here is the feedback. We have two people responded to this person. So you will see the chart showing you two feedback. Okay. Then this person has one vote. Now someone will be like, can't I vote again and again and again and again? Let's just try that in a moment and you see. So let me try voting the vice president and we see what happens. You have already voted for vice president. That means that in the category of vice president, I've already voted. I can't vote another person. And if that is right, let me just look for the vice president that I may have voted. Let me just try to save vice. Okay. So vice president, it has brought me Aaron. I didn't vote Aaron. It has brought me someone here, Aroma, and also the other vice president, three of them. And it shows here that in this category, I already voted one of them. So if I can unvote, that's the beauty of online. I can unvote. I just don't want to. Okay, let me do it here. I've unvoted. So it gives me feedback that you have refrained from voting this person. But this function, we may leave it there or not. For the integrity of an election, we may leave it there or not. So it may not reveal to you how to do it or not. So when I just wanted you to see how I vote. When I vote this person, it turns green. It has shown me that's now green, and it has given me that success. You have voted this person for vice president. Lovely. So it's done. If I try voting another vice president, it will tell me you have already voted for vice president. So you can't vote another person. You can't vote twice. So the system is totally secure about that. Lastly, so that because I see time has already gone. There is more about the ballots, which I wish to show you in a moment. When you go to someone who has charts, let me look for someone who has charts. Maybe here, like click on the chart. And okay, there is only one thing. There is a notification here down that says tap something like tap on a comment for more details. These comments are designed to be compressed because we believe many people might give comments and they become cumbersome. But for you just tapping once on a comment, it will give you a full message here. So the only word here is good. So that's why you see here good. But if it was a full message, it would all be full of here. So to save space, that has been done for us. Now I'll leave it to that so that I take us to the last bit of our election part. We've put statistics so that everyone can be able to monitor both online and offline election process. So when I click in the statistics, I can see the live updates. Now the live updates will just show me who is winning and who is losing. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people for the president, and we are having someone taking with 3 votes. That's already 60%. Then the other one is taking 2 votes, 40%. And then you can see we also have total updates somewhere here. So this is from the tally center. So this is going to show you the offline results, but also showing you the total. So I'll just try to scroll through. I don't know if you can see that this part is scrollable. When I try to scroll, now I see Stella, Mary Akulo. Okay. Then I see another one. Let me try to see another one. Or Tim Rogers. So you literally get the differences in the votes. So this person might be getting 0 online, but offline might be getting many, like 65 or something, depending. Yeah. So it will give you the better view, and we shall, by the time we roll it out, everything will be just in place. All the candidates will be ready to be shown. So with a swipe, I can see another category. So this is the vice president category, 3 of them, but one has 0, so they are not adding up anything here, but each of these ones has 1, so 50-50. When you go to the tally center results, you'll be seeing, let me try to scroll through. Oh, sorry about that. Tally center results, only one person has the results, sorry. Only one person has it. So I will not dwell so much on that. When you swipe on the next, General Secretary, and then you'll have also these updates. Tally center results are also available. So it goes on and on and on for all the different positions, trying to show you this one and this one and this one and this one like that. So those people without any votes, you see a blank. Okay, no pie chart. Then if in the whole category only one person has the votes, then you'll see 100%. So that's all the statistics. It will be live for all our candidates. It will be totally live, and I believe it will just do the magic. So Comrade Bernard, from my side, that is all I had to offer. The rest of the sections will be left for the executive committee. I can't really share them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President, for sharing with us. Colleagues, we could offer him flowers, we could offer him some reaction to thank him uh, for sharing with us. Okay, I can see. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, colleagues. So, colleagues, this is how far we've gone. We have pre-tested the tool already with that little data that you have seen there. We have gone through the guidelines as you've noted. Now, if you have any questions, I know that there are some people who have put up some questions. Let me just quickly go through some questions if they require answers. Many thanks and team for heads up and advance apologies perhaps for ignorance. From legal and identity perspective, we referred to as allied nutritionists Association of Uganda or Allied Nutritionists Association Limited? Thank you, Arthur, for the question. I think we have always been misplacing this nomenclature. At some point, I requested the leaders to share the constitution. When I just checked the constitution, I think we keep on adding a new word which is not legally acceptable. But from the constitution, what is in the registration, whatever, we are called Allied Nutritionists Association Limited. So the Uganda word, I don't know where it comes from, but we are known as Allied Nutritionists Association Limited. That is what is in the constitution that is signed off. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for digitizing. That's where we are going. Okay, thank you, Sechitoleko, for this comment. Great simulation of the voting process. My humble suggestion is that we run a refresher prior to actual voting. Kudos to the design efforts. Well, we intend to have as many sessions as we could possibly have, but of course, as you know, we shall not grow tired. Most of our members do not attend these sessions. Now we get stuck on how best we can run, but we shall try as much as possible prior to the voting. We're going to have civic competence activities during the course of these couple of weeks. We shall try to do videos, we shall try to do whatever we can be able to do to make sure that at least we communicate these things to our members. You never know, we may pick some of them, pick interest and keep on attending, but we shall do as much as we can to make sure that we do this. I think we can do some infographics, we keep sharing them, and also some short videos on the voting process. Okay, I think the unvote function, in my opinion, is nowhere to be called. I didn't get that very well, but just like someone can falsely blackmail your candidate, immediately you vote them and you unvote on such a case. Well, I think that in the system, I cannot, for instance, access Lydia's details. I cannot unvote what someone else is. So it's only you who is accessing your data, because when you sign in, then it will give you mandate to go to only where you are supposed to be. So there is no way Bernard can actually manipulate your result as Sectoreko unless I have access to your code, to your identity number for election. And that's why each one of us will have their own number, and so you can only see what is happening, but you can't do much with it. You can't delete unless you are deleting your own, what you have put. But for someone else, you will not be in position to do so. And that's how the system has been set, just to make sure that the authenticity, but also blackmail and fraud and whatever is kept out of the election. Colleagues, just in case you have any other question, you could put up a hand and then I can give you the rights to speak. Apart from the questions in the chat, just in any case, if you have a question, okay, let me go, Arthur. Let us begin with Arthur. Okay. Arthur, now you can unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can.
Yeah, thank you, Bernard. Just allow me to start with the vote of thanks to you and the team so far for the great work. Mine is just a follow-on question regarding, I think, a colleague who raised an element of, I think, a situation where I vote, then I decide to unvote or cancel the vote, of course, from using my particular credentials. So in that case, I'm just wondering, were we able also to test the system such that in case I cancel the vote, it's not like recognized, maybe if I decide for any reason to vote the same candidate. I don't know whether it's clear. Will the system recognize it as cancelled, or for some reason it might end up recognizing that as an additional vote passed already? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I understand the question, and I think the president will come and respond to that. Let me now allow Musisi, kindly put up your hand again. Okay. You can now unmute. Gerald?
For the good presentation. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, Gerald.
Okay. The other question I got in a different way about someone voting. Then afterwards, I changed my mind along the way. Maybe I've been talked to that maybe the candidate you voted was not the right candidate. Then I go back to the system and then I unvote that person. I also got some different kind of interpretation that what if maybe someone realizes that he's losing, then he decides to, because in election anything is possible, decide to buy out the other voters to turn what they had voted initially. So I would think that maybe we can remove that option of someone unvoting, because if I've carefully made a choice, then why would I come back to the system to either cancel or change my mind? So I think there is a way that someone can be influenced along the way, then they come and make a change to what they had suggested in the beginning. So I wanted to think that's what the question meant in the beginning. Maybe I
Oh,
got
okay.
different.
No, that makes sense. Now the system, once you cast a vote and you submit, then it is not possible that you can recast a vote. I think that is something that we watched over the other time, but I think the Michael, you'll come and again and help me and give us more light there, because I remember that we had that argument, and then we agreed that the system can only receive a vote once you have submitted. Then you cannot undo it. So let me just quickly see if there's any other hand, so that Michael gives us the potential answers, and then we close the meeting in the next 3 minutes. Gerald, I think that is an old hand. Let me see. Anyone else with a hand? I can't see. Okay. Sech Toleko, thank you for engaging in the chat. I think that Jemba will be able to respond to all our questions, and then we come to the closure of the meeting. Mike, over to you.
Very well, thank you so much. I think I got the first question clearly from the first comrade. I think I missed the second one, but I got really the first one. I got it really clearly. So I'll first of all thank you, Arthur, for that question. I think we talked through, as Comrade Bernard has mentioned. We try to discuss, and we see, as Moses has brought out that key point, that people might be bribed. Someone can come and sweet talk you and to try to navigate through. But we also realize that there are a lot of regrets that people do, mainly when it comes to voting. And some people vote by mistakes. These are digital things. So we want to put a time when you have full control of your vote, that I've voted this one, but I didn't want this one. It was a mistake, things like that. No, we want you to have full control, so that provision is still there, that you can undo or unvote someone. But we are also thinking of putting a time limit, just like you see when you edit a WhatsApp message, that you can only edit it in the first 5 minutes. So you can probably make that change only after some time. But after some time, it's totally locked in there. That is also an option. So the other concern was Comrade Arthur asked, when you vote, won't it just do an addition when you come and vote again after? No, actually, that is not the case. I'll demonstrate it here. When you look here, I have a candidate called Aruma Lusaka, of course, totally not the name. And this person on my screen is in green, which means in this category, this is the person I voted. So they're in green. And I'm the only voter to this person, one, showing only one vote. So I'll just try to demonstrate my unvoting skill. And I see, So I've refrained from voting this person. And after refraining from voting this person, I'll just press OK to give you. Now he has 0. That means in the system, in the back end, this person is no longer having my vote. So his votes are, but I can come back with my understanding, full understanding, and vote this person again, and my vote will be back to this person. So it's totally dictated that you can only vote one person in a category. You can't just keep on adding those duplicate votes. So it's vote safe. The system is vote safe. I think that is really clear. Unless there is any other question, I would love to address it. Thank you.
Arthur's hand is up. I think it's a new hand. You can unmute now.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Bernard, again for the opportunity. So just speaking on again from, I think, your responses, I'm just wondering, at the Tally Center, would the second chance consideration also be there for the comrades or colleagues that would be voting at the Tally Center? For any reason, if I make a mistake, then I regret and I want to recast. Just like we are putting a provision for the online colleagues, will the same opportunity be granted to the ones casting at the Tally Center? Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you so much. I believe that was directed to me, but I'll give my input and I'll leave it to the chairman, electoral committee. I believe we shall have an opportunity for them. Of course, there is provision for that, but we also take into consideration that they cannot leave the Tally Center and come back and say, I made a mistake. No, that is totally something different. It cannot be relatable to someone who is online. So it comes back to you being in that place and not leaving, so that it doesn't reflect what Comrade Musisi talked about. But also want to take in consideration that these are going to be physical entities, papers, so we don't want a lot of wastage. So it will be still limited to, if you have another chance, only one chance. So people who have registered to vote digitally, those ones will have a number of chances in a time frame. But the ones who are going to be physical, they'll have some of these limitations, so that we save resources, but also ensure that it's still very authentic, not totally manipulated. Thank you. But I leave that to the chairman of the electoral committee, so that you will have a final say on it.
I think you've really answered well, and that is the expectation. So anyone who's coming to the Tally Center physically, they cannot get out of the Tally Center and then come back, and that will be really the controls that we shall have. Of course, we can keep on brainstorming on other areas so that we are set by the time we run this. We shall have more 2 sessions, maybe about the tool, so that we keep on appreciating it. We can also give you the link to this register, and you try wherever you are, so that we have more data, like you are seeing what we put there for trials, and then to give an opportunity of all of us to interact with this tool, so that by the time we are voting, everybody has had an opportunity. And of course, we shall close it maybe a week to the election, and we clean the data, and then we have it free, now ready for voting. So all those provisions we shall be sharing on the group. And thank you guys for your time, for ensuring that you meet. I know it's usually not very easy, but I want to really appreciate you for sacrificing your time to come to this meeting and to give us your wealth of information. Thank you to my presenters. Thank you, President, for the efforts and ensuring that the system is up and running. Also for putting in a lot of resources to make sure that we finish this this platform. Gentlemen and ladies, join me appreciate my boss, Mr. Chimera Henry, who offered us this link. The consent team, they offered us the link. They offered us the recordings. They offered us the YouTube, so that we can stream on Zoom as well, but also on YouTube for the colleagues who always fail to join the Zoom. Thank you, KHR, for sharing with us and for being kind to us, but also for being in the meeting and waiting all this while in your office to make sure that we have this meeting. And I want to give you just 1 minute to say hi to the nutritionists, and we close the meeting. So, Kechara, please give us a word, just a greeting, and we move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard, but you bring me in at a funny time. Colleagues, I would like to thank you for allowing Bernard to be part of you by profession. And I would also like to congratulate you upon your professional growth and because your professional growth with an association is something way forward, and it grows up everything. I liked the presentations, the way all your slides for voting and so forth were so rich. So colleagues, as an association that provides life and that contributes to our well-being and productivity, please continuously build your capacity and grow yourselves. So I wish you all the very best as you tune up the governance, the institutional growth, and togetherness of the Allied Nutritionists Association. It is a great pleasure working with Bernard, but also seeing him doing other wonders elsewhere. We are humbled, always working with him, and I trust you too. You are benefiting from his great resource and his relentlessness to see that nutrition, food safety, and general consumer well-being is promoted, scaled up, and protected. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing the association in any way in the future. And I wish you all the best with regards to your strategic development and progress to have a strong association. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much for the closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, Henry is my boss. So I want to wish you well, guys. Let us go in peace and sleep and rest, and we have the conversation continue on our platform. Please, you're now free to exit. We shall be closing the meeting maybe in just 2 minutes from now. Kudos to all of you. I can't thank you enough, colleagues. Let us keep on mobilizing our team members to appreciate these sessions, to love to be part of us, and we grow together. Kindly have a blessed night and catch up with you again on the page, or any other day we can catch up. Thank you. Henry, we can now end the meeting.
Recording stopped.